It's Christmas time. No need to be afraid. At Christmas time, we let in light and we banish shade. And yet, across the world, families struggle to afford a roof over their heads. To some, this roof offers fundamental security. To others, it's just another luxury. But to the homeless, a home is just a hope. A hope to sing, a hope to dance, a hope to stay alive for just another day or endless night. I'm Jonathan Primer with another episode of The Rolling Roof, where being homeless isn't hopeless. If you saw Dino walking down the street, there isn't much about him that would cause you concern. He's a fit 50-year-old man with a lovely wife and a great job. But that wasn't always how it was. Dino's life started difficult and became even worse after the death of his father.
I was born in New York, but my father had passed away at 27 years old from a motorcycle accident, and I inherited 180 acres of avocado farm in Puerto Rico. So I was raised in Puerto Rico by the rainforest until I was 17, and then I came here.
Dino didn't have much schooling in Puerto Rico. He told me he got his education running through the rainforest. He returned to the U.S. as a young man and quickly knew that school wasn't for him, so he dropped out. Dino could have found a trade or a job that would have given him the skills he needed to survive, but life had something else for him. While walking home from the movies with his three sisters, three men would make a decision that would take the then 17-year-old Dino's life and send it into a tailspin.
Three guys, yeah. And they broke over 40 bones in my body. They did things, they shoved sticks in my rear end when they were done.
So you don't know why they did this?
No.
You ever find out who they were?
No.
So this was just a random attack?
Yeah, the police department didn't do anything. They sent me to a psychiatrist, but I totally shut down.
Even knowing that he was throwing himself in harm's way, Dino had only one concern.
And, we were walking down the street and I see three guys walking, they were looking at us. They all had sticks. So I told my sisters, run over that building. You see that light over there? Run over there. And when they started running, the guys started running toward us. And the only thing I could think of was like, I've got to get my sister safe. So instead of running with them, I ran toward the guys because I knew they would get me first. And I had long hair down to my knees, so they thought we were all girls, And unfortunately, I was a boy, but that didn't matter to them.
Dino was hurt badly by the attack, both physically and mentally.
Because I had my ribs broken, and they had to cut my asshole out and replace it with pig intestine because that's the closest to our DNA. And so I had to get a clamp on the outside. Everything had to heal on the outside.
It took a long time for Dino to heal. He was left with bones broken all over his body. Even after the physical damage healed, the emotional damage persisted. To cope, Dino turned to drugs. And sadly, the source was one of the people he got hurt protecting.
My sister, actually, she was, I didn't know at the time, but she was on the streets, and she was a hooker in LA, and she was addicted to coke and heroin. And it seemed like every time she had a problem, or she was yelling, she'd run to this plate with some, line on it. I never knew what it was, but after seeing her doing it a bunch of times, I saw it there one time, and I was really upset, so I did it too, and it ended up being heroin. And I ended up getting,
How old were you at this point?
I was about 21, and she didn't know that I was doing it, but I would sneak over to her house and always go in her stash.
Dino's life was made even worse when, under the influence of alcohol, he caused a car accident that took the life of a 17-year-old kid. Dino was charged and convicted of vehicular manslaughter and served his time behind bars. And like so many others before him in this system, Dino came out of jail in even worse shape than how he went in. Homeless now, addicted to drugs, Dino tried to run from his problems. He ended up in Palm Springs, living in an area called Taquitz Canyon.
Beautiful area.
Yes.
It's a really nice area.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if I'd want to. You were used to sleeping outside, I guess.
Yes.
So did you? How did you feel? I mean, what was your mindset during that time?
It was in a fog. I was really, really chemically addicted.
And how did you get drugs?
Just selling drugs to make drugs.
How did you get your hands on it?
When you make it.
You make it?
Yeah.
What were you making?
A shake and bake, we called it.
Shake and bake?
Yeah.
What is shake and bake?
Tastes just like shake and bake, only better.
No! God, please, no!
Shake and bake is you get the lithium from acid from the batteries
Yeah.
and a couple other chemicals that I won't say.
Yeah.
And you just mix those up in a certain way and then you got speed.
And so you were doing shake and bake
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
and you were selling it,
Yeah.
and that's how you got by.
Yeah.
And how long did that go on?
For a long time.
Dino needed help. His addiction was ruining his life, threatening to send him back to jail or probably even worse. But this time, a helping hand enters his life and gives him a push in the right direction.
I'm a bisexual by nature, so I met a man, he was a nice guy. Ended up being Dave the Lad, a very prominent person. And we were together 10, 11 years, and he passed away 10 years later.
And David had made you realize.
Yeah, that there was a better way, easier way. And we weren't in a loving relationship like a man and a woman would be. And he was a hard worker, very, very wealthy. Never once ever asked him for anything. Wanted to give me the world. I didn't understand why.
So you went and lived at his house.
Yes, we had a house in Pioneer Town, and it was nice. He sent me to treatment. He sent me to Hazleton, and I paid $65,000 for my treatment. I signed a 4-year contract, and I was there about a year and a half, and that's when he passed away.
And how was Hazleton for you?
It was nice.
Did it work for you?
Yes, it did. I've been off heroin ever since.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Dino's time with David didn't just help him get clean. It also made him realize that he had a life, he had love to offer someone else. His emotional injuries that had been left raw for so many years were finally starting to heal. And it's at this time that he meets the love of his life.
A year later, I met Shannon, and I thought I would never get married, or fall in love. But I did. She was a volleyball player and softball player in college. And she's 6'2".
Yeah, she's a tall lady.
Yeah. So she has a lot of problems medically too. And she's, medically disabled right now, but does her time here and volunteers. And originally I was a nurse with my wife. We were doing hospice mostly. But when the COVID hit, as the world changed, I didn't have a job. I lost my apartment. Didn't know what to do.
Dino's life almost entered a homeless stage again when COVID struck.
So a couple of rough days at the Boys and Girls Club, at the shelters. But from watching the news and everything closed down in the town. I got really scared. I panicked and started getting on the bus and just driving around in circles because the whole town was closed. And these two guys were talking, and I had forgotten about the well of the desert. And my other partner back before he passed away, we used to come down here every Christmas and help feed the well. But I had totally forgotten about it. It's been over 20-something years. But it all came back. These guys were talking about the showers and everything. And I said, that's where I want to go. I want to go to the well and see what I can get, some type of services or something. And I came down here within 3 days, just helping around, cleaning up, stuff like that. Arlene offered me a job as a dishwasher. And I took it. I went from dishwasher, prep, to cook, to security guard. Now I'm the head security guard, all in 9 months. My wife also works here. She's one of the managers. It just changed us. This place has changed us because, you know, when you're used to dealing with Alzheimer's disease or mental illness, you know, dementia, it's a different, you know, hospice is very definite. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. And I thought that would be the place for me. But when the COVID hit and I got the job here, this is where I wanted to be. Dealing with drug addicts and manipulation and homelessness is a whole different ballpark from where I'm used to.
Since 1996, the Well in the Desert is known for helping people in need. However, in some cases, like Dino, they literally save lives. His time at the well has given back to Dino as much as he's put in.
Is a whole different ballpark from where I'm used to. And I've thrived on it. You know, I'm now the head security guard here with a weapons permit and a guard card. And I turned 50 May 12th. But May 28th, I'm going to be deciding if I'm going to go to the Palm Springs Police Academy.
I have the pleasure of seeing Dino and his wife Shannon several times a week at the well. And it's a pleasure to see him thrive, to see the respect he receives from others and the respect he has for himself. Dino is proof that no matter how hard life is, it doesn't get to define you. You, with help, can achieve your wildest dreams.
So you've been through hell, man.
Yes, sir.
But you're on your feet and handling things well.
Well, I try to be.
Are you happy?
Some days I am. You know, on any given day there is problems.
Yeah.
It's a very stressful job. I'm one of those people that, you know, from working hospice to being homeless to being a security guard, you know, and a husband. It's been rough, but there's good days and there's bad days. I try to look at the bigger picture in every instance. Not try to get too excited about a certain situation. Only handle things that you can handle on a day-to-day basis. You cannot overstress or think about, you know, what's going to happen in the long run. You got to look at the big picture in a sense. And even though I make small steps, at least I'm going up and not down.
I wish I could tell you that Dino's story is the same for everyone that falls on hard times, but it's not. Stories like Dino's are far and few between, and all too often, things get worse. That's why it's so important to share and showcase stories like Dino's, to show that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, or there can be a way out. Please help share this important message by liking and sharing this video. I will be following up with Dino and the others who I'll be interviewing, following them, following their stories, so that we can better understand what we can do together to help those that have experienced homelessness find their way home. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.